At 6 o'clock, we will call the Monday, January 26th Board of Education meeting to order. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We have two items under the consent agenda. We have the approval of the minutes for the December 15th, 2025 board meeting, as well as the statement of receipts and expenditures for December 2025. So do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
A first and a second. Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, and that passes. That brings us to the Woodview School presentation.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having us, or I guess we're having you, but thanks for being here. We're really excited. I have on our first slide, I was excited to share with everybody. This is an actual picture that was taken by a third shift police officer back a few months ago when the Northern Lights were out. So it's just such a beautiful picture. I had to share it with everybody. Turning on helps. Okay, so thank you so much. You guys know who I am, but it is my 5th year. Last time I can take a selfie. I'm going to have someone help me next year. I take that same picture every year on the first day of school. So I am very honored to be the principal here. I absolutely love this district, love this school, and love bragging about how everything is wonderful. So we're going to share some things with you about Woodview tonight. We are following kind of the same order that we have in the past. I'm going to share a couple things that are happening at Woodview. Our theme continues to be Better Together, and this year, as Dr. Gunderson shared last month, we're going to share some celebrations and some areas of growth in our parent survey data, and then the real MVPs will take over, and we have some staff and students ready to tell you about some cool things we're doing here, and we'll finish up with any questions you have. So we just wanted to celebrate, once again, this is our 5th consecutive year as a significantly exceeds expectations school. So that's a point of celebration for us here at Woodview. Regarding what I just referenced with our parent survey data, our celebrations that we picked out, there's lots of different questions that are asked, so we're just sharing a couple with you tonight. We continue to have a strong sense of safety, belonging, and adult support with over 93 to 95% of families reporting their child feels safe, welcome, and accepted by adults here. That kind of takes a bunch of questions and puts them all together. And then our perception of our school being secure and safe remains high, with over 94% of families feeling that that is an accurate statement. So we are proud of those things. In regards of, some areas of growth, we came out that 74% of families agree that their child has not experienced bullying at school this year. So I met with my department kind of grade level leaders, and we kind of talked through all of the data, and that was a piece that they had picked out that we could focus on by doing some things like sometimes the definition of what bullying is or is not can get a little confusing, so perhaps we could do a better job of explaining that definition to families, helping assist them when there are student reports that something is happening either at school, is it on the bus, is it on the way home from school, so just working a little bit better on communication with our families in that regard. And we also thought to bring in our student council and have some student leaders help us with helping out with some strong peer relationships and positive ways to interact with each other. So that's going to be kind of our focus regarding that data moving forward this year. I always like to tell you who's new at Woodview. You see their names oftentimes, but here are their faces. We have Allie Schley, who joined us as our bubble teacher in 4th grade. She's also a Woodview parent, and she's been a wonderful addition to our staff here at Woodview. Lisa McCarville also a Grafton parent, has 2 high school students, joined us mid-year as a special ed paraprofessional. We had some additional staffing needs in our special ed world after school started, so we had to bring on another paraprofessional, and then we had Robin McFadden join us recently as a special ed teacher. All have been wonderful additions to Woodview, and we are happy to have them. You're sitting in a very exciting point of pride for us. You saw the pictures, but I had to include it because it has been such a wonderful transformation. As you remember, last year we actually had like a classroom back here that just had dividers. And the furniture was maybe from when I was going through Grafton school system. So it's really fun to have this new beautiful furniture, and the kids love the flexible seating, and it's just been a really, really nice upgrade to our building. And then the cafeteria, if you didn't see it on the way in, make sure you just at least pop your head in on the way out, because the pictures don't really do it justice. It really was quite the transformation, and it's bright and happy, and it just looks like elementary school. A house should be. This is a very fun addition. Our PTG president had talked with some, I don't know if it was friends or how he got connected to a different district's PTG, and they talked about how they do a dad's program. Thus became the Woodview Dudes. So Brian Mettinger, our PE teacher, and David Garcia, our PTG president, have taken on this new group that's kind of an offshoot of PTG, and they meet at an establishment in town for a meeting and come up with really fun things that they want to do. They're just starting off, and so they're looking forward to get more dads on board, but they are going to be hosting a mom's night out where dads stay and moms get to go have fun on February 13th. So they're going to be doing an Olympics theme. They have all sorts of really cool games planned in the gym. And then they are really excited about doing the Cedarburg bed races. They have a whole thing already planned, so that's really fun. So they're going to do that. I did not realize that that's a fundraiser. So if you win, like, you get money to bring back to your organization. So they really want to win. And then they're also going to be working on a movie night to benefit our 4th grade Madison field trip. So just kind of a fun new addition to Woodview. As always, we love to take part in homecoming. It's awesome that the high school gets the whole community and all the schools involved, so we were a part of that this year. Trunk or treat came back. It didn't rain and nothing blew away this year, so it was a celebration. We've had some poor luck with trunk or treat in the past, but it's really fun, and we use it as a buddy activity. The big buddies take their little buddies around and do a scavenger hunt in the different trunks. So, and we have some amazing families that really know how to do their thing with the trunk or treat. As you guys previously saw, we had a really fun time celebrating Mrs. Wilson, our 1st grade teacher that is also the volleyball coach as she went to state. Our kids got to experience a drumline, or a version of, while she walked through the halls, so that was a really fun celebration we had this year. In addition to her volleyball girls came and read to the 1st grade students, so that was really cool. The Turkey Trot continues to be an amazing fundraiser for us. We raised just over $10,000 this year towards our new playground fundraising. As you can see, we have some awesome parents that come out and cheer. The kids get involved. It's just really a fun time. So I was able to walk again this year. Never will I run again. But anyways, like I said earlier, we have some amazing staff members and students here to present. I'm going to turn it over to them at this time and let them introduce themselves.
Bring this down a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
That was my job.
That's all right.
We go from tallest Woodview staff member to...
Oh, it doesn't have to be that low. No, I'm just kidding.
There's children too.
Okay. All right. Hi, I'm Kayla Meyer. I'm the instructional coach at Woodview. And behind me are some other speakers if they want to come up and introduce themselves as well.
I'm Carla Piero. I teach 2nd grade.
I'm Melissa Schmidt. I'm the reading specialist here at Woodview.
Hello, I'm Natalie Witt, a reading interventionist both here as well as at John Long Middle School.
So what we're going to talk to you about, just as an overview, is we want to talk to you about how we make decisions at Woodview in terms of our supports that we give students. And so we want to talk to you about how our decision-making process, how we group students into supports and extensions, and also how we like to celebrate student success and the new ways that we've done that this year. So our decision-making process is we start off the year with giving students that were identified the last school year with a boost based off of the spring data. Then we gather a whole bunch of new assessment data with the assessments as you can see there. And then we meet as an instructional support team, we call that IST, where we triangulate this data. And teachers and specialists are part of that conversation, and that's where we form those different groups to give those levels of support. One thing that we look at when we are part of those IST meetings is we look at our data wall where we compile all of the assessment data that we have on students, and then we can see and identify the students that need support and the areas that they may need support in. Another thing that we look at in addition to the data wall is this flow chart. And what this helps both classroom teachers and interventionists do, it helps us pinpoint the most foundational need that students have so that we know where to instruct those students. And once we know which students need support, we know what area they need support in, we then develop our Tier 2, Tier 3, and extension groups. So as you can see, Mrs. Schmidt and Ms. Witt, we have the Tier 3 groups up at the top. Mrs. Piero provided enrichment groups, and Mrs. Brocktrop was providing a Tier 2 group to students.
So in second grade, we are committed as second grade teachers to come together and make sure that we are sharing students during this roar time. That way we can get in these extension groups as well as our Tier 2 intervention groups. And we identify these reading and math extension groups and through the iReady and Bridges assessments that we do give. And I would like to introduce some of my students who are going to help explain what we do in some of those groups. So we're going to start with Brielle. You're going to do great.
My reading group is fun. I especially love that I got to learn about Africa. We learned about animals and their habitats.
And now we have Melanie.
In our math group, Sudoku is frustrating, but learning how to control your frustration is a good thing. I love learning big words. I can sound them out and figure out what they mean. Let's try one. Serengeti.
So this was a tricky word, and they had to learn how to segment it into different hunks and chunks so they can understand how to say it. And what did you do here, Melanie?
I segmented it into parts that I could sound out.
Into the syllables. Nice job. And now we have Alexander.
In my reading group, we read a safari book. Learning about the safari is such a fun experience. Sometimes when you go with your family, you already know all about it. In my math group, we work on big problems with cuts. They are fun brain teachers. Let's try one together. Craft fair.
Okay. So this first one is called Craft Fair. I'll read it while he gets started. It says second graders made some items to sell at a craft fair. They made bookmarks, greeting cards, and friendship bracelets. The first customer purchased 2 bookmarks for 40 cents. The second customer purchased a bookmark, a greeting card, and a friendship bracelet for 75 cents. The third customer purchased 2 greeting cards and a friendship bracelet for 85 cents. So how much do the second graders charge for each item? Do you want to talk through this, Alexander?
First things first, if the customer purchased 2 bookmarks for 40 cents, if you could put those into 2 equal parts that would equal to be 40, what would it be?
So 40 plus 40 is? Oh, no. Half of 40.
Half of 40 would be 20.
He's teaching me some days too.
Okay. So if we know then that the bookmarks are 20 cents, then we go on to the second customer. The second customer purchased a bookmark, a greeting card, and a friendship bracelet for 75 cents. So if we know a bookmark is 20 cents, then what is a greeting card and a friendship bracelet? Now it's hard to get this first try, so what helped me is going on to the third and final question. So if the third customer purchased 2 greeting cards and a friendship bracelet for 85 cents, if we know that 2 greeting cards would be 40 cents, then how much would the friendship bracelet be? So 40, and it would be 30. Sorry. 20, hold up.
You're right. So these problems actually kind of push the kids into trying something and correcting mistakes. So it ended up being this, right?
Yeah. So 2 greeting cards for 40 cents and a friendship bracelet, which would be 85 cents. So the hard part about this is just figuring them all out. So if we know then, so if we go back to the second one, we know that now if the bookmark is 20 cents, we can make the bracelet 25 cents. So
Then you have to have your greeting card, right?
yep, and then a greeting card. So if we have the friendship bracelet at 25 cents and the greeting card for 30 cents. And we have the bookmark for 20 cents, and we have a bracelet for 25. If we try it out, we get 45. And if we're trying to get to 75, the greeting card would be $30. So, or 30 cents, sorry. So then our greeting cards would be 40 cents, or the greeting cards would be 20 cents.
So the bookmark is 20 cents.
The friendship bracelet would be 20. That looked like a Z. 25 cents. And then we said that the greeting card was 30 cents. So let's see if this is equal to 85. 20 plus 25 is 45. Let's see if this is equal to 75, I meant. 20 plus 25 equal 45 plus 30 equals 75. So we did it. Now so now for this one, if we add 2 greeting cards and we have a friendship bracelet, if we know the friendship bracelet is 25 cents and a greeting card is 30, 2 would be 60 cents. So 60 plus 25 would be 85. So that means we did it.
Do you have any questions for my kids?
Groups of students who would benefit from both extension, as you just heard about, and intervention are identified using database decisions. The data analysis doesn't stop there, however, after we analyze the initial beginning of the year data. Where am I pointing? There? Okay. We have several school teams that discuss the data that's obtained from the assessments that we give, and our teams work to design and monitor the different tiers of support that you heard about. So we have teams like the SIT team, which stands for Student Intervention Team. That's comprised of our principal, our school psychologist, our instructional coach, and our interventionists. And we meet weekly to look at progress monitoring data to determine if the interventions that we are doing with kids are working effectively. And if they're not, then we discuss action steps to impact progress. An additional team that we have is our PLC meetings, and classroom teachers have the before I move off of SIT team meetings, our classroom teachers are not in attendance at those meetings with us, but they do have an opportunity to fill out a request for assistance form if they have students that they have behavioral or academic concerns about, and then we discuss those students at our meeting. So we would then invite the classroom teachers to come to those meetings, as well as any speech and language pathologists or special ed case managers if the students that we're discussing are relevant to either of those groups of people. Additionally, our PLC meetings are held by our grade level teams, and those are held weekly as well. Kayla, our instructional coach, attends those meetings every week. Natalie and I go once a month, and those are data-driven discussions where we are discussing not only the students that we're servicing in our small groups, but students that are getting tier 2 level of support in the classrooms as well. And new this year, a bit of time is being set aside each professional development day for special ed case managers, interventionists, our coach, and our speech and language pathologists who have students that they are servicing with personal reading plans. We have an opportunity to meet together and collaborate or problem solve around the students that have personal reading plans. In terms of progress monitoring, if we have students that are in intervention groups and are receiving additional support, whether it be by a classroom teacher or by us, they may be getting progress monitored. And this is just a little snapshot to show you that we look at their weekly data and we just color code it quickly to be able to see at a glance. Like if it's green, it means their score's increased. If it's red, it means their score decreased. If it's yellow, it remained the same. So it's just a way for us to quickly see grade level by grade level, student by student if we need to, who is making progress, who might be stagnant. And this is kind of data that we use to decide who we're going to have conversations around at our next meeting. NextPath also provides an intervention workspace that lets us easily see which students that are receiving intervention or some kind of support are on track or not on track to meet their progress monitoring goals. So we can sort by on track and not on track in this workspace. That allows us to celebrate students who are on track and showing growth, as well as quickly identify the students that we will be discussing at our meetings the following week. If we decide through our discussions that we need to intensify intervention in some way, maybe decrease our group size, maybe change the intervention focus, or add additional layers of support, the nice thing about NextPath is that also they will draw on a phase line for us. So when we tell NextPath what we're impacting, what kind of change we're going to make, it will draw in a vertical phase line, which you can see on that bottom graph, and it allows us to then see if whatever change we made has impacted the student's rate of improvement.
Missy just showed you ways in which we analyze our weekly progress monitoring data. New this year, we have implemented some ways to celebrate our students' reading success. So at Woodview, our reading is gumbelievable. This is an idea that stemmed from a podcast from Melissa and Lori Love Literacy, in which Angie Hanlon was interviewed, sharing these practices that she has implemented at one of her previous schools. Both Missy and myself are having our students participate in this incentive to help our students take ownership of their reading goals. We've opened up these practices for classroom teachers to participate in if they choose to, and many of them are. When a student exceeds their previous week's progress monitoring score, they earn a prize from our gumball machine. They also get to add their name to a paper gumball piece that is then added to our door displays. When a student reaches or exceeds the end of year goal, which is reaching or exceeding the spring 25th percentile, they are invited to wear a lanyard that says, "I met my reading goal." Staff are aware of what this lanyard symbolizes, so when they see a student walking in the hallway wearing that lanyard, they can congratulate them. Students are also able to ring the victory bell in the office and receive a signed certificate. So here are some pictures of what our gumball door displays look like, as well as our gumball machine setup. We do have our gumball machine here tonight that after our presentation, if you would like to try it out, you are welcome to. Here are some examples of students participating in ringing the victory bell in the office. Ms. Schwensen has been sending pictures of these special moments home and emailing them to families so that way they can celebrate their students' reading success at home as well. We do have some students here tonight that would like to share their experience with ringing the victory bell. So if I could have Noelle, Willow, Eden, and Eli come up. All right, first we have Noelle. So Noelle, how did it make you feel to ring the bell?
I felt nervous but excited at the same time.
Why were you feeling a little nervous?
I didn't know who was going to be there or what was going to happen
Why were you feeling excited?
because it was my first time and I could graduate reading.
How did you celebrate at home?
Play board games, eat a good meal, and my mom was really happy for me.
Awesome, thanks, Noelle. All right, next we have Willow. Willow, how did it make you feel to ring the victory bell?
Excited.
And how did Mom and Dad feel about you ringing the bell?
They almost screamed.
Nice work, Noelle. Next we have Eden. Eden, how did it make you feel to ring the victory bell?
Excited.
Excited. How did you celebrate at home?
Ice cream.
With ice cream. How fun. Thanks, Eden. And last we have Eli.
I felt very proud when I finished my reading goal and I got to ring the bell.
With this new system, we are trying to motivate our students to accelerate. What started out as data that we were just collecting has turned into all of the smiling faces that you can see here. Thank you.
We're just gonna do this for a minute. Okay. All right, so as you can see, this has been a really fun addition. The bell is in the office. Feel free to check it out on your way. Everybody that's in the office claps, and it's a big celebration. And then I sent an email home to the families explaining with the pictures, and it's been really fun to get their responses, and they really enjoy celebrating with their students. So kind of piggybacking off of celebrating and reaching goals, I tried something new this year to kind of front load an idea that Dr. Gunderson and I have moving forward with Forward. I printed off all of our students in 3rd grade and 4th grades iReady scores in the fall and created a folder for them. And then I met with every single 3rd and 4th grader, showed them their report, talked through what their score meant, what their goals meant, and we came up with one idea of the way that they could then meet that goal for winter. So it was really, it was a little time intensive, but it was really a fun way to have individual one-on-one conversations with students, and I really enjoyed it. And I think most of them enjoyed it too. Moving forward, Woodview and Kennedy are both going to implement a really intentional, student-centered way for, we talk with students every year, of course, about how the Forward is important and why they should try their hardest. But we're going to dig a little deeper this year, and you can't really see the sheet in depth there, but that's the actual sheet that we're going to use with the students, where they'll have the 4th grade students will have their score from 3rd grade, and we're going to talk through that with them and have them come up with goals for themselves. It helps them take a little bit of ownership. It's a little bit harder, when you're in high school and you take the ACT, a lot of times you're really invested because you might want that score for your future plans. When you're a little bit younger, it's a little bit hard to see why we should care so much about this big test. So we're just trying to think of ways to help them that will then carry forward as they move forward with goal setting and investing in doing their best. And then, of course, as we just talked about with the reading goals, we're going to come up with some incentives to make it a little bit more worth their while. So that's all in progress right now, but just wanted to foreshadow that for you, that Kennedy and Woodview are both going to be doing that in 4th grade. That's all for us tonight. Thank you so much for having us. And if you have any questions for anybody that presented, especially the stars of the show that are a little bit shorter than me, we'll go like this. All right.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for having us. So, board, any comments or questions? Not everybody wants.
Question or kind of a clarification. So, the 2nd grade teacher, what's your name again? Hi. Was this an example of like the roar groups?
Yes. This
And
is an
like
example
what
of
they're
my reading and math
doing
workers.
and how you're using the data to meet
to form
them.
the groups and then
Yeah,
what
yeah.
we're doing inside those groups.
And it sounded like, so were both of you learning about Africa and safaris? But in different groups? Or were you in the same?
Yeah, so you were in 2 different reading groups. So I have 2 reading groups and 2 math groups every week.
Okay.
I wanted to know what kind of animals you learned about from Africa.
Cheetahs, elephants, giraffes, lions.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite?
Yours was elephant.
Elephant.
else?
I think it's really cool with the celebrations and how you guys find these incentives. I mean, I'm the parent of small children, and finding fun little incentive things to celebrate victories in this is really neat how you guys did that. I think it really boosts the morale of the kids too, when they have these like public celebrations about it. So kudos to your team on finding effective and things to do to really celebrate as a school these victories. And all the students today, you guys did a great job. Some of those were really tough. So congratulations.
Excellent. One more hand for everyone. Yes. Yep. If we can have all the kids and the teachers come up, we'll get a quick picture.
Students, be presented, why don't you come on up and take a picture with the board with you?
They're like, no, thank you.
As much as we want to do it, either.
You know what their teacher is gonna they're really awesome at school, and they make me go talking for the same. If you look right here, now you take a picture first, and I'll have your parents. Let's take a picture, so right here. Smile here. Oh, yeah. Great job, you guys. Nice job.
That was always. Yeah, it was a D3.
I mean, it's just not athletic. I mean, obviously, I'm a great kid, and he's close with my other stuff. So I always. I remember talking to one of my buddies, brothers, we watched a couple games. He did it sometimes. He's got to be able to take that camera. If he
We'd always go from whatever students were doing. So it felt like, oh, it's Topher's, we're out. Yeah. I like that there's a little gap like that. Yeah. Huh. Right. Yeah, you're gonna have to.
What does it really matter?
Yeah. And then I was watching, because my son went to Indiana State. And I was watching, follows, yeah, he follows the basketball team. And I watched Saturday. I was gonna ask. Because it really was nice here in spaghetti.
Told a joke and walked off. Haven't changed much.
All right, we will continue with the rest of the superintendent's report.
Yes, so we had our district spelling bee on Wednesday, January 14th. And we want to congratulate all of our students that were able to compete that night at the high school auditorium. But a special congratulations to our champion of the Grafton Spelling Bee, Danielle Osapian, as well as finalist Aiden Hahn and Advet Boba. These three students will be advancing to the CISA 1 Regional Spelling Bee on March 3rd. We had a total of 39 district students who participated in the spelling bee, so best wishes to those three as they advance. Thanks to everyone who helped with our 4K informational night, which was last Thursday night. We had 64 families in attendance. A reminder, the priority open enrollment window for 4K is now open through February 6th, so parents can enroll students at district office Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 4 o'clock, and all that information is available on our district website. And congratulations to Topher Adams, our Director of Business Services, who was recognized as the WASBO Business Manager of the Year. It's ironic that the Business Managers Association sets up these rules that you're nominated and you're awarded the Business Manager of the Year in 2025. So Topher has really been Business Manager of the Year in 2025. And now we're in 2026 and he's finally officially been recognized. So they set it up so that like multiple times they get to be recognized. And luckily we love Topher, so it's fun to make fun of him. But so we had a number of our board members, some of our directors, another picture that I didn't put on here of our business office as well, Jamie, that were there congratulating him. And they put a quick video together that we'd like to show you that showcased some different pieces of Topher. And there's little Ruby when she was in elementary school.
Finding how Topher has impacted our community, he's helped make Grafton a destination district for our staff and families who we've had add on to our facilities as we are fortunate to have increasing enrollment in our district.
Having as a mentor was invaluable. My first year as a business manager in the profession.
School Business Manager of the Year award recognizes outstanding school business managers in Wisconsin and their contributions to public education. Topher Adams, Director of Business Services for the Grafton School District, is the recipient of this award for his 9 years of financial leadership and his commitment to mentoring the next generation of business officials. His recent achievements include leading the successful passage of 2 capital referenda, including a 2024 expansion to accommodate rising enrollment and leveraging innovative debt structures to maximize state aid for his district. Beyond his district duties, Adams serves as the co-chair for the WASBO Fall Conference Planning Committee and shares his expertise as an educator and can coordinate university and mentor students business managers across the state.
Topher is unique in that he was a kindergarten teacher early on in his career, so he brings a different perspective than most business managers when discussing budgeting priorities. Placed our district in its best financial shape through long-term planning and strategic debt management.
Thanks, Topher, for being a mentor to me, navigating some challenging waters in my first year in the business office. So just so appreciative to that.
He's deeply invested in the district's success beyond his professional role. Topher takes pride in our district's successes, and we are fortunate to have him on our team.
Thank you. I'm honored to receive this award. I want to thank N3 for sponsoring this award and bringing attention to a position that sometimes flies under the radar. I would not be receiving this award if it weren't for the willingness of my colleagues, both past and present, to support my growth during my time in this profession. This recognition reflects the high quality of people in the Grafton School District and the contribution every team member makes to the district's success. The school board has consistently put the needs of students at the forefront of what they do every day. My superintendent, Jeff Nelson, my boss and friend, who I've had the pleasure of working with going on 10 years now. My fellow administrators that work hard to serve our students, and my business office team that makes everything run smoothly behind the scenes. Finally, I want to thank my family for their love, support, and patience. My mom raised me to believe in myself and to believe I could do whatever I set my mind to. My wife, Leslie, who supported and believed in me when I came up with the crazy idea of jumping from being a kindergarten teacher to being a school business administrator. And my kids, Leo and Ruby. Having them in the Grafton School District and getting to have that extra connection with their life at school has been the most satisfying part of my time in Grafton. I accept this honor and look forward to continuing to improve the lives of students and staff and supporting others in my career.
So we're very fortunate to have Topher in our district as business manager, and as he said, he's been here for 10 years, and so very well-deserved honor for him, and great to have the entire state be aware of what we have here in Grafton. And so proud of him and his work, and appreciate all of his work and friendship and commitment to our district, and wanted to recognize him at the board level as well. So kudos to Topher.
Thank you. Thank you.
Couple of last things, special events in October, in February. We have our Wisconsin School Bus Driver Appreciation Week and our Adult School Crossing Guard Recognition Week, February 9th through 13th and February 16th through 20th. So as we think of this cold spell that we're in right now, and as you head into February, it's a great opportunity, though, to thank those who keep our kids safe, whether they keep them safe on the bus or whether they keep them safe on a daily basis as they walk to and from school. As a reminder to our community, if you see those bus drivers or the crossing guards during those weeks, to please thank them for their efforts. We will give a gift on behalf of the district, and I go to Right Way and present lunch for them. And then our school crossing guards, I meet with them and give them an apple on behalf of the district. But if you have time during February to thank them, I think that'd be greatly appreciated. So we thank all the work they do to keep our kids safe on a daily basis. And then I have our educational funding partners. I have 2 emails that I received from, one from the GEF. Says, the Grafton Education Foundation's gift wrapping event in December was a success. Volunteers and NHS members wrapped over 250 gifts. We'll be hosting the event again in 2026. February 7th, we will be partnering with Rilo Boutique and District 6 in Cedarburg for a Valentine's shopping event. Both shops will donate a portion of in-store sales to GEF. We are collecting donations for our annual online auction, so we welcome donations from the community. And grant applications are open, and Golden Apple Teacher of the Year nominations will be opening in February. And I paused as I read this because it says Tracy Potter will be attending and be available to answer or respond to any questions. And I saw Tracy Potter sitting there, and then I'm like, am I supposed to be reading this, or am I supposed to let Tracy read it? And then I kept reading, Tracy. Yeah, so I kept reading because I was supposed to read it, but I should have read that sentence. So that's why I paused, like, what am I supposed to do here? So I apologize. If there's something you would like to add, Tracy? No, you have any questions. It says she's here for questions, by the way. And I'm embarrassed. I apologize. I was reading and I was locked in, and then I'm like, I should have paused there, I think. But yeah, my bad. Make sure, KES, I'm supposed to read this one, right? Okay, good. Kennedy's PTG sent an update saying that they had a Milwaukee Pretzel fundraiser. Milwaukee Pretzel donates 50% of their total sales, so they sold over $5,000 in pretzels, resulting in a donation of $2,705. Their restaurant give back night on December 9th at Grafton Quiznos was $201 donation, and their restaurant give back night on January 13th at Grafton Qdoba was $375 donation. They have a new addition to the KES Teachers Lounge called Kenny's Cravings Corner. Basically their version of a vending machine stocked with a variety of sweet treats, salty snacks, cold beverages, and of course coffee. So teachers and staff can help themselves whenever their craving strikes. And they just wrapped up Staff Appreciation Week, January 20th to the 23rd. This is the third time they've had it, third year in a row of holding it in January instead of in May, to bring some fun and cheer to our gloomy month. They had a Wicked theme of Kennedy staff is Wicked Awesome. It was highlighted by a field of poppies, a popular catered lunch, and 4 good donations in Amazon wish list for their classrooms. And then in February, they have February 3rd restaurant night, even odds, and February 19th through the 22nd, the PTG's online silent auction fundraising event, all from the comforts of home. And if there's anyone else here from another educational funding partner, and I don't believe there is. So with that, that concludes my report.
Any questions for Jeff? Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have public comment. I did receive one email right after our last meeting, which I did forward on to the group, and no other emails. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to address the board?
Good evening. If anyone doesn't know me, I'm Joe Brown, Director of Bands at Grafton High School.
Actually, the next item
Am I?
on the agenda.
Oh, sorry, I didn't
But
see
you are a
that.
resident, so if you'd like to make a comment, you can make a comment.
I don't have anything other than.
But you are an official item. You're a big deal, Mr. Brown.
Yes.
I screwed up by saying Tracy Potter's sentence, so you're good.
All right, see, we have no public comment. We will move on. That brings us to the student overnight trip request. Is there anyone here to speak on that?
I think there is someone here to speak on this, actually. So in your pamphlet, in your packet, is a GHS overnight trip application for the band and choir, and Mr. Joe Brown is here to speak.
Yes. So last spring, we had a very successful trip to New York City. We got to do a lot of awesome things. There, we got to have both the band and the choir got to participate in a Broadway clinic working with a guy who's been playing piano on Wicked for 17 years. And so that was awesome getting to work with. He ran kind of a rehearsal with the band on a big Wicked medley. That was a lot of fun and great experience for the kids, and then got to do some really cool, really in-depth musical things with the choir, which was awesome as well. The band got to perform on the USS Intrepid, which was really cool, playing on an aircraft carrier. And so now we are looking forward to our 2027 spring break trip. This year we will be going to New Orleans, so we're very excited about that. So this is kind of our itinerary. It's going to be a 3-day trip, 2 nights. We will leave from Midway is where they have us right now, on the 22nd, which is that Monday of spring break for 2027. And then we'll be returning on that Wednesday in the evening. The first day we get to do see Mardi Gras World and Swamp Boat Tour, and then some time on the Riverwalk. The biggest thing with all of this itinerary that we wanted for this trip versus the New York trip was a little bit less packed together on the first day. We left here at about 2 a.m. For our 6:30 a.m. flight to New York, and then the choir performed at 7 o'clock that night. And we didn't get to go to hotels. So we tried to have a much better balance of doing things versus overdoing things on the trip while still getting some great experiences. That is why this trip is a little bit shorter than our trips have been in the past. 1 night. This is 2 nights. Last 2 trips were 3 nights. It'll help balance things out, but still get some awesome opportunities for the students. Second day, we'll be going to the World War II Museum, which will include some performances, as well as a jazz museum and an aquarium, and then a ghost tour in the evening. And then the final day, we'll get to workshop and tour at Tulane University, and then perform at the St. Louis Cathedral before heading home. So we are also traveling with a new company this year. We previously went with Southwestern Travel, and this year we were going with Academic Expeditions. The biggest issues we had with Southwestern Travel in the past were the timely communication and logistics, especially in the month leading up to the New York trip especially. They weren't very forward with as many things as we needed. I know Summer Klepek had a lot of issues getting what they could do for music, or music that was going to be sent to us for the clinics and the performances and what they could do, and that wasn't really figured out until kind of short notice for preparing music for performance. And so we talked with our friends over at Cedarburg High School who have used Academic Expeditions before. They highly recommended this company, and especially our rep, Bob, has been great help so far in preparing this trip. Super responsive to our emails in a timely manner, and fixing things as we were getting the itinerary set, and everything has been a really great help. They also have better systems to organize rooms and take things off of mine and Ms. Klepek's plates. There's just a lot of things as far as putting the kids in rooms that Southwestern Travel didn't have to kind of do that on their own, or form for the kids to fill out, that we had to facilitate that, and that just adds more things while we're also trying to do what we do in a normal school year as well as plan the trip. And so we get that little extra help from the travel company this time. And then there's also more included in the price. So you may notice, if you remember, previous price is a little bit more than it was, but it's somewhat pretty similar to the price for this trip. But a lot of that is going to be because of inflation, and because of there's more included with this trip than what Southwestern had. So what is included? The bold ones are the biggest differences. All airline baggage fees this time are included. That was not the case last time. Last time they just said, "Oh, we'll probably get Southwest." They did not get Southwest. So each instrumentalist had to pay $80 total to get their instrument to New York and back. But this time that's included. All of the meals are included in New York with Southwestern Travel Company. About half of the meals, most of the lunches were at the kids' expenses. In this case, they have an allowance that if they want to go past that, they can do that on their own dime. But they have at least an allowance that should be able to cover a solid lunch for themselves. And then the evenings, the dinners are usually more big productions. One of the nights is a bowling, so it's probably pizza. And then personalized laser engraved luggage tag. Last time, we have stickers we put on all the instrument cases to make sure we kept track, but it'll be nice for everyone who checks a bag to have something that's unique to them, especially for this. As well as motor coaches, we will probably have 2 motor coaches to New York. We had 100 people travel, about 24 adults, the 2 chaperones, myself and Miss Klepek, and then about 75 students, which was just awesome. So we'll probably have about 2 buses going down there, and then we get a tour guide per bus, and then entrance fees and everything we need, and security in the hotel, which is nice. Right, you can advance that. So this is kind of the breakdown of price. This is the starting point for about 40 paying participants per motor coach. It is a little bit flexible if that goes up from there. I think usually the motor coaches fit about 55. So if we end up at 100 total people, the price may go down just a little bit. So the general student rate, they generally put 4 to a room. That's going to be about $17.85, and then adult chaperones have the choice to go. Either they can have a roommate or not, and then there's variable pricing for that. Okay. That's all I have for that. Any questions?
Excellent. Sounds like a fun trip.
Appreciate you doing that and coordinating that and getting more interest in the band. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really fun. We went to Nashville in 2023, New York in 2025. So it's been really fun getting more and more trips and getting. I've definitely seen the interest in staying in band and choir because of it. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. That said, do we have a motion to accept the overnight trip request as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Additional discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes. So
thank you.
Have a great time. Great memories. All right, that brings us to the personnel report.
Yes, so we have no new hires that are for board approval, but we do have 2 instances for informational only. We have a new hire of Meg Wiesner, who's our communications coordinator receptionist in district office, and then we have a resignation of Leah Smith, accounts payable facilities coordinator in district office, and that position has been posted for. But 2 support staff positions, so just making the board aware of.
Informational only. Any questions? Okay. Approval of open enrollment seats for 26-27.
All right, good evening. So I'm back to talk about open enrollment. Last year, at this time, the board was setting open enrollment seats for this current school year, and you had set a total of 34 seats. This is a chart that talks about the number of applications we received, the seats opened. You can see that we get many more applications than we open seats, because as we know, Grafton is a great place to be. So a lot of people are applying. Of those 34 seats that we opened, we did have 24 new enrollments, carrying over 2 tuition waivers, and that currently puts us at 161 students total that are open enrolled into the district. And on the next page, you can see a detailed breakdown of those students that are open enrolled in, as well as our resident students who are choosing to open enroll out. Because Grafton is a great place to be, we do continue to be a net positive open enrollment district, with fewer Grafton residents choosing to open enroll out, as more students are open enrolling in. For this next school year, we are making the recommendation that the board approve 31 seats. This is slightly lower than the number of seats you approved last year, and that is because our resident enrollment continues to increase. So you can see the breakdown of number of general education seats at each grade level, totaling 31, and then 0 special education seats for our district. And if you're wondering, our open enrollment window is from February 2nd to April 30th. That is when families can put those applications in, and we hold a lottery early in May. Any questions about our recommendation for approving 31 seats?
Comments or questions? Okay. All right, seeing none, I would look for a motion to approve the 31 seats as indicated. Additional discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 2026-27 school year calendar final read and approval.
Yes, so following last month's board meeting and discussion on the calendar, our administrative team reviewed both board feedback as well as union leadership feedback on the calendars that we brought forward. And after a lengthy discussion, administration was unanimous in recommending tonight's calendar. It is similar to this year's calendar, the 25-26 calendar, but it does have one virtual learning day for grades 5 through 12 instead of the 3 that we have this year. We believe this change addresses concerns that parents and staff have brought forward about the effectiveness of virtual learning, while still providing students with a valuable experience if we must move to virtual learning because of excessive snow days, as well as continues developing student independence. So we have the final version of the calendar has 176 secondary student days, 174 elementary student days, 190 teacher days, one professional development day, as I mentioned, that would be virtual learning in the first semester on November 9th. So also a couple months into the school year before we would have our virtual learning day. And then we would have spring break from March 22nd through the 29th. And it would include the Monday after Easter Sunday to help facilitate holiday and travel plans for staff and students. So I'm going to take any questions the board might have about the recommendation.
So this resembles the B version?
Option B, yes, this resembles option B that we had last month.
I appreciate all the time and effort to facilitate this and I think address concerns. I think, there are different opinions here on the board and with staff and parents, and it's a happy medium, I would say. So yeah, I appreciate all the time and effort to do this and come to a good spot, I feel.
Good.
So did we lose PD days or did they?
We would lose a PD day, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and by having the virtual learning days at the secondary level, at the elementary level, they're full PD days. But the secondary level, they aren't, because after you have lunch, we have time for virtual learning, and then we have our wellness hour for staff as well. So it's typically like more of a half day of PD day for staff. So as a leadership team, that was one of our discussions, and we felt strongly that the full day in December was going to be better than having a half day later, and being able to really take advantage of that time together as a leadership, as a district team, was something that staff felt strongly about. And as we said, we could come back and revisit this next year. And the state's talking now about potentially, not having the state start date be required to be September 1st. So potentially we could be bringing an earlier start time to the school year, as well as an earlier end time to the year. So there's other pieces that will come together for next year as well that we're talking about.
Okay.
But that has nothing to do with 26-27. That's all about 27-28. It's not this year. This is the calendar for 26-27. We're thinking about 27-28 already, but this is where we are right now. We're not bringing the calendar back again this year.
Final read tonight.
I promise.
Okay. So it will be a little bit hard for us to get feedback on just the one virtual day, because we can't really survey until after this 26-27 school year. So if we do any survey this year, it would still represent this past year, so.
Yeah, and we'll keep the survey question in our annual survey, because I think it will be interesting to see, we've made a concerted effort to be more strategic, maybe more directive on certain expectations that we have at our various levels. So has that resulted in a better response from parents and staff? Maybe, maybe not. So it'll be an interesting way to continue developing data that we can look at for ways to improve.
Are there other measures to know, like, because I know there was the comment about we want to have this certain day because of like data and being able to use that data effectively, like, or with losing the other two and having the one on the 7th of December. I'm just curious, as you're thinking about going forward, do you have like certain things you're looking at or will be looking at on, was it really a loss? I'm asking
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because we'll be able to evaluate as we move through with our professional development to see the
Yeah.
goals that we have set for ourselves for the year. Were we able to accomplish those? Did we have enough time? Does staff feel rushed? Because that's, a concern of like, oh my gosh, Joe talks about, kids being in New York and you're exhausted at the end of the day. Well, that's not the purpose of the professional development day. It's just to go, 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 go. We want to learn, but we also want to have time to reflect and collaborate together. So will we have time to do those things? Those will be the things that we'll have to be watching. There's nothing magical about the calendar. There's other days we could move around, we could change things. So we're always evaluating, are we meeting the effectiveness of our goals, our data? I mean, we just had our chamber, State of the Chamber today, and I felt like I was delivering like a sales pitch for the best sales year we've ever had, with some of the accolades that our district is getting. So our data is really good right now with our current system. This is a tweak to that, and we plan on continuing to have better data. Yeah.
Any other comments, questions? If not, I will look for a motion to approve the recommended 26-27 school year calendar.
Second.
First and a second, additional discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And we have a calendar. So thank you very much. H, 25-26 second quarter budget report.
Yes, so we are bringing the second quarter budget report to you. Like our first quarter budget report earlier this year, very little to talk about in terms of the categories and variances compared to last year. In previous years, or last quarter I should say, previous years there were usually things to talk about, but this year we've been tracking both in the first quarter and the second quarter spot on with last year for the most part. And on top you can see overall, both in Fund 10 and Fund 27, we're spending very similarly to last year's rate of spending through the second quarter. Now, one area we have to take a look at that isn't reflected in our expenditures is our insurance costs, because those are recorded as liabilities. In the expenditures, our insurance costs are recorded every time we do payroll, assuming that dollar amount is going to be, that's recorded, but then on our books, we're looking at what's actually happening with claim activity. And so this is what we've seen on a month-to-month basis through the first 6 months of this fiscal year. Obviously, with July having a challenging month, the green bars are the funding sources, red bars are the expenses, and then you can see whether there's a gain or loss. So each month, July being a loss, August being a good month, September and October kind of balanced out, not being too far up or down. November was challenging, but then December was very good. So when we look at what that means cumulatively, right now we're just about breaking even with about a $9,000 loss. And when you think about where we were last year through the second quarter with about $750,000 underwater, we're tracking much better this year than last year, especially as you saw in the second half of the fiscal year, getting some of that back through the last 6 months of that year. So that is our second quarter budget report. Any questions about how the first 2 quarters have gone?
Informational only, any questions?
Just a quick one, Topher. So those rebate programs and things that kick back into the second portion, that isn't reflected in this currently, or is this projected in with that as well?
It is. So we get quarterly rebates. So actually, that's why you'll see September and December, those funding sources, that's where they get plugged in.
Okay.
That's why you'll typically see those months being the highest in terms of having funding sources. As you see in December, we did receive a fairly large rebate, and then the rebate check for those pharmacy rebates.
And we're looking to probably see more into the second half of the year with
Yep.
this?
Now it's a rhythm.
Okay.
So every 3 months, at the end of every quarter, we get one of those payments. You can kind of count on it being about $90,000.
Okay, thank you.
Would there be a lag, just looking at the December expenses? I mean, I would think end of the year, people met their deductible, doing more things, excuse me. So would there potentially be a lag in expenses in January?
Yep,
From
January and
December?
potentially February as well.
Okay.
Some of that actually hitting our claim activity
yeah.
in those months, and then seeing March and April
Come back down.
a little bit because now people are having to use their deductible up.
Yeah, I thought the December number was low,
It was, happily.
which is good, but
Yeah.
is it because it's not gonna hit the books until January?
Well, you can see it fluctuate, and it just, sometimes it's the timing of procedures and when claims are coming in. You would have expected December to climb up above November, but November obviously had some bigger ticket items hit that month.
Why wouldn't there be more consistency between the funding from month to month?
The rebate.
Again, the funding, those quarterly pieces hit
So just the end.
at the last month of each quarter. That's why you'll typically see those as the highest. August, we had some doubling up of some premium coming in, and so that can impact it as well. Because the funding sources are when we take the district's contribution and the employee contribution and put it in there to cover all the claim activity.
All right, informational only. Any other questions or comments? Thank you for the update. All right, assessment overview and approval of parent opt-out.
Hello, everyone. This is our annual notification of upcoming state assessments and our opt-out process for families. So the state assessments that are coming up are on the screen. As you can see, we have the ACT, which will take place April 8th and 9th. That is for students in grade 11, and they'll be tested on reading, English, math, science, and writing. We have the pre-ACT Secure. We have a testing window of March 16th to April 24th. However, in line with what we've done in the past, we'll have an all-school testing day at the high school. So those students will also be testing on April 8th and 9th, with some select students starting testing on April 7th. And that is for students in grades 9 and 10 in English, reading, math, and science. We have our Wisconsin Forward exam. The window is also March 16th through the 24th, and students in grades 3 through 8 will be tested in English language arts and math. And in grades 4 and 8, they will also be doing science, and then grades 4, 8, and 10 will be tested in social studies. And then along with that, we do have the DLM, or the dynamic learning maps. Those are for select students, and the window is also March 16th through April 24th. Parents are encouraged to not opt out their child of state testing, as full participation helps ensure decisions are based on a complete and reliable picture of student learning across classroom, school, and the districts. However, if a parent would like to opt out their child of state assessments, they must do so in writing. So per state statute, we are required to honor all parent requests to opt out students at grades 4, 8, 9, 10, and 11. However, we would like to request that the board approve all parent opt-outs, regardless of grade levels, that we receive in writing and following the procedures listed on the screen. Are there any questions?
Comments or questions?
Did we last year have any opt-outs of this?
We did, yep. We had 5 opt-outs last year. which was a decrease from the previous year of 7. 4 of them were at John Long Middle School, and 1 of them was at the elementary level, and 0 at the high school.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you. Seeing none, I would look for an approval of the written. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Approval of the written parental request for our test opt-out as presented.
So moved.
Second.
For second additional discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that passes. Gift reports.
Yes, we have multiple gift reports that we'd ask for board approval for. One being for John Long Middle School for their, it's a restricted gift for their STEM program in the amount of $550. The button press, circle cutter, badge blanks, and art files, and it's Alvin Stronin making that donation. And then we have from Waukesha County Technical College, Troy Olson being the contact person, making a donation to the Grafton High School Automotive Program, a 2014 Chevrolet Corvette for students to use in the automotive lab. And the value is $40,668. And then 2 donations towards enhancing our future athletic complex development. Marlene Pritchard in the varsity level of $5,000, and the Grafton Athletic Booster Club in the amount of $500.
Any questions on the gift reports? Seeing none, I would look for a motion to approve the gift reports as presented.
So moved.
Second. Additional discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes, and we thank everyone for their generosity, and we'll get them a letter.
Yes, we will. Can I add one thing?
Yes.
I should have said this earlier when I was congratulating Topher. Jerry Rossi, Steve Nada, and Lester Bartell wrote letters of recommendation for Topher. So 2 of our board members, and then, well, Lester from the community. So I want to recognize them as well because they wrote nice letters. And then Jackson, who we saw that Topher's mentoring, also wrote one for him. But I wanted to thank the 2 of you as well as Lester for taking time to write those letters, and I should have included that in my notes.
Yeah, thank you.
It was easy to do. Congratulations. So our next board meeting will be at John Long on February 23rd. So we look forward to our visit to John Long. All right, that brings us to adjournment. The Board of Education will consider a motion to convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.85, Section 1, subsection C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility for purpose of considering administrator contracts. Do we have a motion to go to closed?
Second.
First and a second, we'll take a voice vote.
Yes.
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 And yes, we are closed.